Albert Hoffman discovered psilocybin in mushrooms used by Mexican shamans. He isolated the active molecule, found a way of producing it via chemical synthesis, then traveled to Mexico to meet Maria Sabina, the Mazatec shaman who had revealed the mushroom's usage, and gave her some pills containing synthetic psilocybin that he produced in his lab here in Basel. Maria Sabina then conducted a session using Hoffman's pills, and afterwards thanked him, saying that they had the same power as the mushrooms themselves. Albert Hoffman and Maria Sabina acted as diplomats, the scientist sharing his results with the shaman, and the shaman doing a self-test for the scientist, both sides moving towards each other. This was back in 1962, and science and shamanism were already mixing it up. Westerners long viewed shamans as imposters, but in the 20th century, scientists and anthropologists discovered that those practices and concepts of indigenous peoples that we call shamanism are actually an ensemble of techniques for knowing, a way to investigate nature and try to understand life and illness. It turns out that scientists and shamans have similar concerns. They just see things from different angles. In the Amazon, shamans ingest psychoactive plants to communicate with plants and animals. In their view, there is unity under the surface of diversity. Humans have kinship with plants and animals, and nature communicates using signs. Scientists now agree. All organisms are made of cells. Humans are genetically related to other species, and our cells communicate using signs and codes. Several months ago, I accompanied a microbiologist to the Peruvian Amazon to work with an indigenous shaman. The scientist runs a tuberculosis research institute at an American university. The shaman works in a modified state of consciousness in a rainforest retreat. Despite their different work methods, however, the common ground between the two practitioners was evident. Both seek to relieve human suffering with medicinal plants and substances. The scientist is trying to find a way to stop multi-resistant tuberculosis bacteria. This disease kills 2 million mainly poor people every year by puncturing their lungs. He and his colleagues have tested tens of thousands of substances in their lab, so far unsuccessfully, and he compares his scientific work to looking for a needle in a haystack. He's not in it for the money. If he finds a solution, he will publish his results in the public domain and seek to develop the cheapest remedy possible with the help of not-for-profit foundations. Before contacting me, he was aware that several remedies had been developed from plants initially identified by rainforest-dwelling indigenous people. He approached me and asked me whether I could help him establish a collaboration with an Amazonian shaman. He was aware that Amazonian shamans use psychoactive plants as tools for knowing and was prepared to avail himself to such an experience. I put the idea to a well-regarded indigenous shaman, an ayahuasquero who defines himself as a muralla. one with deep knowledge about the administration of plants and the magical aspects of nature. Turns out this shaman initially trained as a nurse at the beginning of his career and worked several years in an Amazonian hospital before learning ayahuasca shamanism. So this is a shaman who is familiar with microorganisms and microscopes. His view of intellectual property is that he is happy to share his knowledge with science in favor of public health. As long as his knowledge is not exploited for commercial interests, he is happy to share it for free. During the encounter, the shaman came forward with a plant that he has used to cure several tuberculosis patients. This plant has yet to receive a Latin name from science. It is currently being tested in the scientist lab in Chicago, and preliminary results confirm anti-tuberculosis activity. As the scientist put it, there is something there. While in Peru, the scientist had several ayahuasca experiences under the guidance of the shaman. He found that gaining insight into his personal life was effortless, while focusing on his scientific work during ayahuasca visions was challenging. The shaman commented, "Ayahuasca is like a school. Some think that after 3 or 4 days they know, but I've been in this 32 years and I'm still learning." The scientist's conclusion was that he would like to return for a longer period of time and do the diet and perhaps gain insights into disease therapeutics and processes. In other words, more research is needed. Scientists and shamans can work together, as Albert Hoffman and Maria Sabina demonstrated 46 years ago. But Maria Sabina paid a high price for doing crossover and was widely regarded as a traitor in her country. This illustrates one of the risks of diplomacy, and I will talk about that later at greater length this morning. Well, synergies between scientists and shamans will not come from speeches or discourses, but from acts repeated many times over. It is the act of working together that produces synergy. So the point is not only to talk about how scientists and shamans can work together, it is to get them actually to do so. Actually to do so.